Okay, we're going to be talking about Cocaine Bear, the latest film in the Bear trilogy. No, I'm kidding. Uh, we decided to we decided to do We Have a Ghost instead, written and directed by Christopher Landon, who directed Freaky and Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You.
Love those movies.
Yeah. So, what do we think about We Have a Ghost?
I have seen one of those movies, and that being Freaky. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a good time with it. It was really good. I like how it wasn't really a horror movie, and I just love the friendship between Kevin and Ernest, Ghost Ernest. I love how David Harbour can do so much with so little of not being able to speak. I really liked this movie. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I will agree. I really like this movie. I do have one kind of just big problem with it that is kind of just like, it feels like a part of the movie that if you just took this entire part out of the movie, I would have enjoyed the whole movie a lot more if it was just a little more focused, because this movie's over 2 hours long, and that's not bad. But I think this movie could have been a lot better if you just focus a little more on the family and the Ernest stuff. But I had a great time.
Yeah. So full spoilers. I should probably set that up top. Full spoilers.
Full spoilers.
Full spoilers.
I have one. I think Ryan and I might have the same big problem with this, and but outside of that, I think it's very funny. I think it's really sweet. I had a very good time with this one. So let's talk about what I think we agree on that problem. Tig Notaro.
Yeah, and it's not Tig Notaro herself, the ghost lady, the CIA lady. Because I love them. They are so funny. I know they're on one of the Star Trek shows, Brandon.
Star Trek Discovery, yeah.
Yeah, they're a terrific comedian. I love their presence in anything. This movie is a really wonderful family comedy drama, and then this all of this other movie, all this X-Files part of the movie comes in, and it's not like I dislike what's happening. It just feels like it was two movies put together, and they don't vibe together very well. And by the end of it, I'm just like, this movie would have just been perfect if Tig was just a person who liked Ghost and wasn't part of this SHIELD operation who comes in with this random guy, and it's all of that stuff felt like WandaVision episode 4. I'm like, oh, these all a bunch of this stuff showing up now, I guess. I don't necessarily need it. It's kind of just took away from the parts of the movie I really liked.
I feel the exact same way. Because when right before we started recording, I was trying to think of what my major problem with the movie was, and I just couldn't I know there was something about the movie that I think they could have changed or fixed or something.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Because I was 100% more invested in the stuff with Kevin, his family, Fulton. I love Joy, and them interacting with Ernest, the ghost. I was more invested in that. And every time Tig Notaro's character Leslie comes on screen, I'm like, oh yeah, you're here too.
I wouldn't have minded it. My issue with it is that it comes to nothing, really.
Yeah.
It only serves to keep Ernest away from the family for enough time to have the third act start. But outside of that, once Tig Notaro's character doesn't come around, it doesn't have a third act reveal. They're not part of the story after. They're really not part of the story at all, except to steal Ernest. And they have
a very quick, and I saw comment, they have a really quick hero turn where she's the one who captured Ernest, but oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. Ernest needs to be free, and turns on her own agents. And I'm like, this is a really quick arc that honestly didn't need to be here. And again, I really like Tig Notaro, but I'm just you could have just edited this part of the movie out. If this were again like a tight 90-minute movie where it's just about the family and them going on a road trip to learn about Randy McGovern, which is an awful name for I'm gonna call him Ernest. And the plot with the old man who killed him, I love that entire through line. I'm a big fan of. It's just hey, it's time to bring Fringe into this movie, and I'm like, why? What are we doing?
The fact that this is a comedy, but also there's a mystery to it, because I was invested in the mystery. I was invested in trying to find out what happened to Ernest. When he freezes in the park and the little girl in the merry-go-round, he gets the flashback of his daughter on the horses. I was like, ooh, that's a memory. That's a core thing. He misses his daughter. He had a daughter. Where's the daughter? And I don't know why, but I completely forgot that Tig Notaro's kid. How do you
Tig Notaro?
Tig Notaro. I almost said Naruto. I am sorry, Tig. I am very sorry. Tig Notaro's character, for a split second, I thought, does Tig play June? But then it shows up as Leslie. But then
honestly, I thought so too.
That would have been actually that would have been good.
I would have, because I was like, oh my God, she's fighting her dad. She's hunting down her father. And like, because in the very beginning of the movie, Leslie is like reading the story about a ghost, about how the ghost was like, not fearful, but how the ghost was like dangerous, how the ghost presented itself to Leslie as a entity to be feared. And my brain, and while I was watching this, I'm like, maybe that was Ernest before he lost his memory, trying to reach out to his daughter. And instead of reaching out to her to say, this is what happened, he unintentionally scared her and put her on the path to becoming this essentially pseudo Ghostbuster.
That's such a better idea, Ben. Man.
I don't have them a lot, but every once in a while I come up with a little nugget here and there.
But you're right, Ben. Like the biggest point is that but that would have connected Tig to the rest of the movie, and they're not. They're just not part of the movie until they abruptly show up.
Because that would add like another like father relationship that Kevin is currently going through and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would have, because I thought, because like when Ernest was in this cell and Leslie Tig's character was talking to him, I was like, is this the reveal? It's like, or did she know the entire time that that was her dad or her parent or their parent, whatever? And then it's just like it shows up as Leslie so and so. I'm like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah. Never mind.
Now, however, outside of that, I actually have very few problems with the movie. I think the movie is very funny. I was actually really surprised at how funny I found it. Oftentimes, the TikTok montage might be one of the funniest things I've seen this year.
Dude, the Ernest challenge, run into a wall.
The Ernest challenge.
Jesus.
Why do I feel that what do I feel that if I start scrolling through TikTok tonight, I'm going to see that challenge show up on my feed?
Not that popular of a movie, probably not.
I wish it was.
Well, it is number 1 on Netflix right now.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
They say that a lot.
7 billion hours of watched. Ben, did the very first jump scare of the movie get you when Fulton punches through the wall? Did that get you? Did that scare you? Good job. Because it got me a little bit because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, ooh, you got me, movie.
Did it scare?
It got me.
I think it's because I was expecting a jump scare to happen somewhere.
Okay.
But one of the things I love about this movie is, you know how with a lot of ghost movies where the living befriends the ghost, they're scared of the ghost, and then there's this very slow connection and they become friends like around Act 2. Like the second he pops up and Kevin's just like laughing his ass off, he's like, no, keep going. This is great. And then Ernest is just like, really? And he just like flies away.
Well, one, Ernest isn't scary, no matter how
exactly.
Much he'd like to try. Also, the opening scene of the movie is really great because it's just a shot of the house and it's a family running out, screaming, the door shuts, and then time goes by, it's like the grass grows, and I'm like, oh, haunted house. Okay.
That was pretty cool.
That poor mailbox gets run over 3 times.
I really like the bit where the mortgage lady, the girl who's selling the house, is like, okay, and so we have all the original things. She's looking at us. Okay, so we have all the original furniture and things, and you can all take it all. Please take it.
And they're like, this house was extremely cheap. Did anything bad happen here? And she's just like, it's a buyer's market. Nothing happened here.
You have to tell us about ghosts. No, I don't. It's in the fine print.
It's in the fine print. Yeah, we have ghosts. Yeah.
No, I was watching this movie with Fanny, and after they say that, I look over, I was like, isn't there a law that a realtor is supposed to tell you if a murder happened? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it is.
But remember in the movie, the murder, nobody knows it was a murder.
Exactly.
And nobody knows it happened in the house because they covered that up.
They did. They totally did. What else was it? Kevin. Are we still like to? Are we?
No, let's bounce around. I think Kevin is great. Kevin is a wonderful character.
Mm-hmm.
I love everyone.
I love Kevin's taste in music. I love how when he's talking to his dad about who Jimi Hendrix is, because I was very much on the Anthony Mackie side. It's like, yeah, Jimi Hendrix is the greatest guitarist of all time, and then he's like, yeah, but Kevin or the other Kern something, whose name I'm completely
the guy who influenced Jimmy.
Yeah, the guy, like when Jimmy was interviewed, he was like, "No, this is my influence," and I'm like, "You're okay. I like that.
He's
I
a
like
smart
that a lot."
guy. Yeah, yeah.
He is a smart guy, and also I do like a lot of the needle drops. Obviously, big classic rock fan. You're playing The Doors. You're playing No More Mr. Nice Guy, Alice Cooper, and also when you see him strumming and playing, it's like, Who Will Stop the Rain? That's what draws Ernest out by Creedence. I was like, that is a beautiful rendition of Who Will Stop the Rain, and I found myself humming along to that, and I was like, man, they did
this movie has this movie has a lot of like, it's funny, but I found myself like, it has a lot of really great emotional beats too.
Yeah,
and it bums me out that like the sci-fi movie part has to come in, because without it, I think there's a lot of really great emotion that like they're sprinkled through this movie. Like the beginning, like when they're having a fight, and Anthony Mackie calls like his son smart or whatever, and he's like, then he's talking, he's like, yeah, it says the guy reading a book for dummies to his dad, and I'm like, that's so mean. And he's constantly like, without meaning to, belittling his dad, who is just like an average guy who keeps trying to make things work and it's just not working out for him. And like, Anthony Mackie is so good in this movie as just being a dude who keeps failing. And he just wants to provide for his family so bad. He's just like, he just keeps gambling wrong. And this ghost is it, baby. He got a ghost now.
I love how we don't get revealed too much of what happened in their lives. Like we get like when his wife Melanie talks about Houston, like, this reminds me of Houston, and he says Houston was a pyramid scheme. This is different. This is when they're talking about the YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm like, oh, so he royally messed up in the past.
And like he keeps messing up. And like what I think is like, the moment he sees that video about Ernest, he's like, okay, well, this can be something big. This is proof that ghosts exist. And he has this he does bully his son a lot, and because he's so flawed, right? Because he is so insecure about his own thing. We find out at the end that, he's like, when I found Ernest, I thought, this is it. This is going to help me get my life together. It's going to click. I'm going to be a good dad, and my life is going to be all because of that ghost. And I think that's a really interesting character beat. And a lot of the times when I saw him, I was like, why is he so mean? And then that heart to heart they have at the low point is really like touching.
Sorry, Rain.
Go ahead. You gotta go ahead.
I was gonna say, I weirdly, like, especially at that point in the film, particular when Anthony Mackie is talking to Kevin after Ernest gets taken, I related to Anthony Mackie's character. What's his name again?
I don't remember.
Dad? Yeah, Dad. Let's call him Dad. What?
No, sorry. My computer, my cat disconnected my video from the computer. You guys keep talking.
Oh, okay. You're still here, right? You're good. What was I saying? I really connected with Anthony Mackie's character when he's talking about how he doesn't know what he's doing, and a weird part of me is like, holy shit, I'm going through the exact same thing. Because he is trying harder. He's trying so hard to make something work, to make something click, and where he's failing, his son is succeeding. I mean, it's not succeeding like bring in millions of dollars or how much money they're making off the YouTube channel, but at least in doing something right, which is he sees a ghost who's stuck, doesn't know what happened to him, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to help this guy, not out of financial gain, but just because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
and I love that.
His line, this movie made me cry at this moment. And I'm like, I can't believe this movie did this. But like, as he's leaving, he turns back and he's like, Kevin, I admire you. You turn out to be a great kid in spite of me. And I'm like, oh no, oh my God.
I got emotional a little bit there. I'm like,
I think really good. That line floored me, and this movie does make me cry, but a little later. There's a bit that makes me sob a little later.
I think I know the bit you're talking about, and it got me too.
But I think Kevin is such a really good character, and like just good-hearted, good-natured. He's from the moment he is introduced as a character who is just kind, and that's his character development. He's just a kind person, and I really like that, and he's very endearing because of it. they're like his relationship with the girl, I forget her name, Joy is wonderful. I think they're great. They're really cute together. I found them really compelling.
I love when we first meet Joy and she's playing her trombone. Her dad yells at her, and also when she's in the library and she blows her trombone at people in the library.
That's when I knew. I'm like, she's all right. She's okay.
I was like, I mean, of course, it's a classic story. Boy moves in next door, sees a girl who lives next door. She's into music. He's into music. So, okay, cool.
Girl has the phone number 222 poop.
Classic
phone number.
Honestly, when she said, "Are you kidding? This number is great," I was like, "Is it 8675309? It's not that, is it?" But 222 poop is still funny.
Why wouldn't you keep 222 poop?
Pinky swear and kiss it.
Yeah.
Kiss it. I was like, that's cute. I like that. That's a cool family thing.
Before I want to talk more about Joy, but really quick, I also want to talk about Fulton, his brother, Kevin's brother. It's weird because at parts you think it's like, oh, he's the older brother, or he's the jock, he's the asshole, you don't like him. But there are parts throughout this movie where it's like, no, he's actually a good guy. I mean, he's out for himself. He wants to help the family. He's posting videos of Ernest and getting the interviews, and of course, he's talking to the girl on Instagram about how supplement company is. But when Kevin gets brought home and he looks at Fulton and he's like, "I'm sorry about the car," he's like, "It's just a car." I was like, oh my God. Because like 9 times out of 10, I feel like with these movies, the older brother just wants to destroy the younger brother. It's like, how dare you destroy my kick-ass ride? But instead, it's like, you're home, man. I was scared. I was like, thank you movies for destroying horrible tropes. What's up?
Fulton reminded me of Johnny Storm, where he's a himbo with a heart of gold. Where he does this dude like, yo man, I'm hot, I'm famous, I love the chicks, but like I still love my family. They're still number one.
I was just like, thank you movie for destroying old tired tropes of the older brother being the asshole when the younger brother is the focal point of the movie. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. And I think what Christopher Landon has written here is a very compelling family dynamic that feels very real. In not in like a movie trope way, but in like a real life way. And I think he has a history with Happy Death Day and Freaky to subvert trope expectations. And I think he does it here again in a really personal way. And I think that works. And that kind of goes back to, not to beat a point senseless, but like that goes back to why I think we're struggling with the Tig Notaro stuff in ways, because like the family dynamic works so well and is the heart of your movie. Why would you ever go away from that?
Mm-hmm. And like, if it was even just Tig Notaro, I might be okay with it. But like, there's a scene where like we go to like the underground lab that's like big and blue and has like technology from the future and like a ghost containment field. And I'm like, I was just watching like a ghost drama, like a family ghost drama, like a minute ago. Like they feel like they're in different movies. And like that's like what the other movies he's made as well. Like there's like, crossing genres, but this one, like it doesn't feel as cohesive. It just feels like it was like, oh, I want to add the sci-fi stuff, but I can't make it organically make sense. It's just like seeing that ghost field scene. I'm just like, this is just silly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit more about David Harbour. I think he's so good. He is able to do so much with not, like, he's such a good physical actor. He's very warm, and we're seeing a lot of really interesting things from David Harbour these days, and I really like that. And here we're just kind of seeing him act without any dialogue, and he's
expressive.
It.
He's hella expressive.
Expressive is the word I've been dancing around. Yes, that is it.
Like anytime I talk about comic books, like the thing I'm looking for in your face is like, I know what emotion you're feeling. And David Harbour says like almost no words in this movie, but I know everything he's feeling. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's true acting.
I would like to nominate David Harbour for TV/cinema Dad of the Year.
I don't know. Pedro Pascal is literally playing two fathers in one.
Okay, the thing is, Pedro Pascal's daddy. This is dad.
Oh,
well, if you want to make the distinction,
that's not fair to David Harbour. You can be someone's daddy.
The thing is, Stranger Things. I really did like him playing the dad in Black Widow, and of course this movie with him being
Do you remember the line in Black Widow? Just fathers. When he tells the really bad story, and it's like, what does that have to do with anything? Fathers.
Fathers. God.
And I want to say there was another franchise. I can't think of it right now, but I know he played a father figure or a dad in something else besides Stranger Things and Black Widow.
Santa Claus is sometimes considered a dad.
That's right.
Father Christmas.
I knew I was. Either way, David Harbour is having a hell of a few years, and I'm really glad. I think he picked another really great role, and once again, I absolutely love. I love what he does in this movie. How he is very expressive. How he does say so much with so little. Like one of my favorite scenes is when he's trying to hype Kevin up in the motel. Yeah. And then he's like, no, he's like, yeah, you look good. Or even like when they're getting chased by the cops in Kansas, he flips the car off.
He flipped the cop off.
He does the ghost scene from The Matrix where like they go from one car to one car to another. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he lands in the car, and I'm like, oh, those twins did that in The Matrix. I like it.
One of my favorite gags is when where's Ernest? Shing, as he materializes on the hood of the car.
He's just
Ernest in the hotel. I had to note that Ernest in the hotel was really funny because like almost like Bumblebee, like he turns the music on to change the mood, and then the bad thing he's like, yeah, you go, boy.
Did you remember when he looked through the peephole and saw the furries in the other room?
Oh my god, that's the next movie that they're making. Whatever's happening in that story.
Right? What else? Oh, I love the scene with Jennifer Coolidge, where she's
a national treasure.
She is. Blessed be Jennifer Coolidge. I love how like everyone else is freaking out. She's like, I gotta get out of basic cable, so unprofessional.
Nice special effects.
We were cackling at that line.
Jennifer Coolidge is great. I love the whole like, oh man, yeah, it's terrifying. An arm comes out his throat.
Yeah,
it reminded me of like Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's I mentioned before it's really funny, but there's some of the TikTok things I want to mention. We'd already talked about the Ernest challenge, but there's also like, guys, I think I love Ernest. I want to have Ernest's baby.
I wrote down light one up for my ghoulies.
Yeah, and then there's one where they're just like, I had a dream that I had Ernest's baby and it looked like this, and it. Ghost lives are human lives, one of my favorite line. I wrote this one down. Just because you're not made of matter doesn't mean you don't matter.
Yeah,
I love not only that you get like a bunch of different people on TikTok. Like, of course, you got the ultra conservative dudes. You got the liberals. I do like light one up for my ghoulies. That was really fun.
That was really funny. Ernest challenge is just so funny. Watching people just run into walls.
Where they meme the mom scream and they put her as a meme as says, I see dead people.
And people are like doing it like,
oh yeah, we haven't mentioned the mom. The mom, she's good. I think she kind of has a thankless job. She's kind of like the glue of the family, but by that extension, she's kind of like she's like the no nonsense one of the house. So she has like kind of like the least fun, even though she probably does have like the funniest scene with the scream and the TikTok stuff. So it balances out.
Yeah, I agree.
I also love I love the scene where she steals the phone. She answers it, and it's Kevin. And then when Leslie comes up and catches her, and she just looks Leslie dead in the eye and says, "I would rather swallow a bag of razor blades and drink lemon juice than get and tell you jack shit." I'm like, you go, mom, you go.
So the whole movie is centered around trying to find out who Ernest really was. And they follow these clues to this guy who's named Ernest. They follow this to the real Ernest. And he's this old man who knew this guy, Randy McGovern, as you said, Brian.
Real quick. I knew this guy was a bad guy because this guy, he always plays like the worst. I'm an old man with a secret types of guys. And I'm like, this guy's a bad guy. I know it.
Yeah, I had no clue.
I knew that I knew from the jump that Ernest wasn't Ernest, but I didn't clock that he was murdered till late in the game. The reveal being like, because he remembers that he was murdered by his friend who stole his child. like, by the way, like the wife's like, that's Patricia. She she blah blah blah, and like
She had
there's
a
just
stroke.
Ramona.
Ramona, this the catatonic woman who in the past was like, oh, my sister died. It means God wants me to have her baby.
Yeah, it's very, very sinister. You feel bad, the whole situation. And like the lie, obviously it's a lie, but he's like, yeah, oh yeah, Randy, he just left his beautiful daughter here on our porch, and he just left, and he took out a bunch of money and we never saw him again. He probably killed himself, that jerk.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, come on, man.
Although after that, and then you get the speech with Anthony Mackie saying that when you're a kid, you only remember the good about your dad. I was like, oh no, did Randy, ghost Ernest, do bad things? But then of course, once he sees the dude with the eagle pin, and then he remembers that no, he was a good father. He was just killed by his friend and his sister-in-law. So he's actually a good person. Thank goodness.
It's a good reveal, because like the story, you do kind of wonder like, oh, what is the reveal that Randy was a jerk in life, and that's why he's got unfinished business. But the hurt on his face. Sorry, I'm holding back a cough. The hurt on his face when he's being told what could have happened, the fake story, it clocks with who Randy is, because he's like, I don't believe I could have done that. I don't remember, but like, I don't believe I could have done that.
It's the ultimate form of gaslighting, essentially.
Yeah. The dude's dead. He can't speak.
Ghostlighting.
Yeah, ghostlighting. I was so relieved when we see Randy's murder or Ghost Ernest's murder.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank goodness, because I was like, I really was hoping that Ernest was a good guy. I'm like, just like what Kevin said, every interaction he had with him tells him that he is a good person, or was a good person. And when we find that out, is like he was murdered by his friends. It's like, okay, yeah, that tracks. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think this is a really lovely movie. I'll talk about the end, because I feel like we're kind of running out of things to say. The end has June, who is his real daughter, who's Randy's daughter, reunite with Randy at a lake, beautiful lake. That part when she holds his face and says, "Hi, Daddy," the waterworks happen.
I was like on the precipice, and then the Hi Daddy came, and I'm like, no, you got me again.
You did it.
Yeah, I was holding back tears. I was like, oh, I was sad. I felt, I got the feels. And then the reveal that he was disappearing, and he had a last good moment with Kevin. And I was just like, that also gave me the feels as well. I was like, oh,
he does a really good, like, he does an embrace, and I really like the Ernest effect, by the way. I think it looks really good. And then the fading away is really, really well done. I think it's a wonderful movie.
Oh, do we want to talk about Joy real quick?
Yes, because I think she's delightful.
Yeah.
And I love that became a road trip for a bit with Joy and Kevin. I think that's a good character. I was really invested in their romance. I thought it was very cute.
It was really cute. Yeah. I do. Yeah. I wish I really like the road trip section, and I wish we could have like had 20 minutes of more road trip and like less the X-Files coming to steal the Ghost Man. Because again, like, it doesn't amount to anything in the end anyway. It's just like a Project Wizard clip or whatever. Was like, no, we could have just stored that in the files forever, to be honest.
I probably would have liked, I mean, going back to the music bit, because this isn't a criticism, but I know we kind of dropped Kevin's love of music on, I want to say, like, maybe halfway through the film after he plays Who Will Stop the Rain the second time, to bring Ernest out for his dad and brother. I would probably, I mean, instead of like, Wizard clip again, I would much loved a scene with him and Joy and Ernest, like, just rocking out to music and just going over different musical tastes and just talking about music for 5 minutes. I felt that maybe it would have not done a whole lot to the movie, but also maybe will explain that, hey, Ernest, how come every time I sang Who Will Stop the Rain, you approach? And he was like, oh, like, he would get really, maybe that was his favorite song, or that was a song that triggered a memory with his daughter. Like, when he would play that record while holding her or something. I don't know.
Well, no, you're absolutely correct because like if you take away the wizard clip thing, then you have the more real estate to do something like what you're talking about. And I was just thinking about like, okay, well then how would he remember his death? Oh, you don't have just some random dude walks up with an eagle pin and have that be irrelevant. You actually have it meaningful, like a song, like what you're saying, Ben. Because like it's because like honestly, the way he remembers is really weird. Some dude just walks up and he's just randomly has an eagle pin on his lapel.
I think I just realized how it could another way to trigger the memory. He gets murdered and gets buried in the rain.
Oh, sure.
Pool stop the rain. He hears the song. It could have been the record that was playing, and that's the song that triggers because that was the last song he heard when he got murdered.
Yeah,
I like it. I like that.
Again, that's a something. As I like to say, that's a something.
That's a something. That's definitely something.
I just think that bit like just kind of holds down the movie. What were you saying?
There's a scene where he like where Ernest like Raiders of the Lost Ark like melts his face.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just wipes it away and it's just back to normal. And I'm like, that is so cool. That's like really cool. It was just really cool. Like he was a skeleton, then he's a human again. I'm like, man, ghosts are cool. I've never seen that before.
There's some really good inventive stuff and some really fun comedy. Like when he's running through the building and he just like comically run through the tattoo parlor and the office thing is so funny.
Yeah.
No regret. And the tea is just it's funny. I love that bit. The comedy in this movie is, I would say it's hilarious. Like when we first meet Ernest, Kevin starts laughing. When the mom meets Ernest and he goes, the TikTok montage is stunning. Joy's jokes here and there, like I love the trombone joke. That's my favorite one. Favorite joke of Joy's.
That's what I learned today.
You guys, every single bit with Tig Notaro's character and fighting ghosts and doing the ghost stuff, I agree. That did not need to be the film.
Where do I remember that military dude from?
He's from She-Hulk.
Yes, he's the boss.
He's the boss. Yeah, where it's like you have to be She-Hulk if you work here. Yeah.
And again, like boss.
It's not like any of that is bad. It's just like it is interrupting a much better, more like a different movie. It's like, oh, here comes like the sci-fi part, and I'm like, it doesn't need this. It didn't need it.
It kind of either has to be one or the other. It's not balanced well enough to be both. You just kind of have to pick. Do you want to do the sci-fi movie or do you want to do the wholesome family movie? Because
like again, like this whole project, like for 20 years, like we've only seen like one ghost, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but like it just seems like a lot of effort and a lot of nonsense when it could have just been a nice smaller family movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts and ratings.
I will rate it an 8 out of 10. It would have probably been a 9 out of 10 if the sci-fi stuff wasn't in it. So I'm giving it an 8. I think it's a great worth watching comedy drama.
Ben?
At first when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about giving it 7. That's not my final rating. But the more I was talking about it with you guys and the more I realized that, the sci-fi stuff really knocks the movie down, but everything else in this movie, I still think is fantastic. I would say 7.5, really, but it could be an 8, but it's in that range. I would say 7.5. The sci-fi stuff does bring it down, but the character interactions are great. I love the way David Harbour acts in this movie. It does give you some really good emotional beats, and it's also really funny, and the effects of being a ghost are great. Like, once again, Jennifer Coolidge saying, I gotta get out of basic cable, it's so unprofessional, and then when she gets grabbed and runs out the window is hilarious.
I agree wholeheartedly with Ryan, actually. I think it is an 8 out of 10. I think a solid 8 out of 10. It could very easily have been a 9 if you remove the sci-fi stuff. I just don't think it needs to be in this movie.
There's like I'm seeing the edit in my brain where you just cut stuff out and it's like a tight 90, and I'm like, this would have been a perfect tight 90.
Yeah.
Or
it's like very emotional. Let me finish my thoughts, Ben.
Sorry.
It's very emotional. It's very funny. I thought it was wickedly funny. I see the world where it was a 9 out of 10, but it is a solid 8 out of 10, which is still a good movie.
Had Tig Notaro been the daughter, that reveal would have been great.
Sure. It would have made it solidified better. I do agree.
Yeah, I would that would have brought everything together. But since taking it to heart, they just let Ernest go, and there's no repercussion. We don't see any repercussion for that character. It's like, what were you there for? Oh, and one other joke which I absolutely loved: the Lyft joke, like the interaction between the drunk girls and the Lyft driver. Right, like when Ernest jumps in, it's like, "This is a Lyft, bitch," and drives away. I love that.
It's fun. It's funny. It's good.
It is.
All right, shall we go into our book club?